As part of our continuing series on Maine's changing climate, we're taking a look at the state's complicated future when it comes to solar power and how moves we make today may have unintended consequences.
That's the case with a law passed by the legislature and signed by Governor Mills in 2019, which resulted in a tremendous surge of interest in building more solar energy projects. That law was changed in 2021, and it's on the verge of being changed again this week. As News Center Maine's Don Carrigan reports, legislators are trying to strike a balance between needed change and the costs to you, the consumer.
The real question will be the date CMP allows us to interconnect.
On this clearing in Bristol, Nate Curtis is starting his latest solar project. It's 3.1 megawatts, 5,000 to 6,000 panels, similar to others he's built. A community solar project, it will have about 850 subscribers, home and business owners who will pay for the power it generates. According to the federal government, a 3-megawatt solar farm will produce that amount on bright sunny days. But factoring in nights and cloudy days, the solar farm will produce on average 1 megawatt of power consistently. And in New England, that's enough to power roughly the 850 subscribers that Nate Curtis hopes to sign up.
We always guarantee 18 to 20% savings on the bill, regardless of the rate.
This is one of dozens of projects approved by the state after a law was passed in 2019 promoting more renewable energy development as a way to combat climate change. Some are big grid-scale solar or wind projects generating 20 to 30 megawatts or more. But many others are small community solar projects that must be under 5 megawatts. The owners of those projects are able to get paid a higher than usual price for the electricity sold to the market as an incentive. And there, say critics, is the problem.
The law passed by the legislature 3 years ago ties the price that community solar developers get for their power to the cost of natural gas. But critics say that's resulting in high-priced electricity, which they say is driving up the cost of power for all ratepayers.
And so the costs, predictably, are completely out of control. And it's going to cost ratepayers another 20 to 30% beyond what they're paying right now, which is too high.
Tony Buxton is a lawyer for big industrial electricity users and a leading critic of the current law. Those large grid-scale solar projects do not get a subsidy rate and are typically selling their power for 3.5 to 4 cents a kilowatt hour. Critics like Senator Trey Stewart say those higher rates for the community projects get spread across all utility customers and over time will force up electricity rates for everyone.
If you could get 100 megawatts of solar at 4 cents a kilowatt hour, why in the heck would you go out and buy 5 megawatts at 18 cents a kilowatt hour? And that's what's really happening.
If you ignore the benefits, sure, everything looks like it costs too much.
Jeremy Payne is director of the Maine Renewable Energy Association. He says any cost increases for ratepayers are more than offset by the benefits from more solar energy.
What we believe is when you weigh out the costs and the benefits, that there are significantly more benefits, from the private investments to the job creation to the resiliency and reliability of our grid that is being hardened through private investment. We think it outweighs any of the costs of the program.
Maine Public Utilities Commission Chairman Phil Bartlett told us that ratepayers could see a 10% increase in their bills as more of these projects actually get built and come online.
It's the way to diversify our energy supply so we don't see what's going on now, which is a price spike that is because we became too reliant on carbon-based fuels.
Senator Mark Lawrence, co-chair of the legislature's Energy Committee, supports community solar, but also says the law needs to be fixed. Legislators did slow down the growth of the program last year and are now ready to vote on a bill that would cut the tie to natural gas prices and also cut the rates back.
Essentially, this will carve off another 30% of the cost and make these projects much more feasible from a cost-effectiveness standpoint.
But that would only apply to projects not yet built. Those already up and running would stay on their current contracts. Senator Stewart is still supporting the change.
The program just doesn't really make sense in my opinion, but this is the best shot that we have to at least control some of the costs.
Maine's climate policy calls for a major shift to renewable electricity over the next 8 years, and none of it will come for free. But those in the business, like Nate Curtis, say doing nothing also carries a price.
I think there will be costs, of course, in order to combat climate change, but then one could argue they outweigh the costs we would have to take if we don't attack the issues of climate change.
And lawmakers and solar developers say it may need more policy adjustments in the years ahead. In Bristol, Don Carrigan, News Center, Maine.